Okay, everybody, here we go. It's you and me, literally against the freaking world, okay? And we have a lot to talk about. So this is my post-market wrap-up on this Monday, August 29, 2022. We got not one, but two warnings today. One from the Bank of International Settlements, and the other one from the International Monetary Fund, also known as the IMF. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I want to cover what's happening here, what happened today here in the market. Very interesting phenomenon going on. So we have a sell-off here in the debt market and a sell-off here in the stock market. Okay, this really shouldn't surprise anyone that follows this blog. I've been screaming from rooftops for weeks now that if we continue to see bond yields rise around the world, 10-year yield rise, the market's going to hate it. In this environment, okay, should be clear to you that that is exactly what is happening. In my view, and I'm going to beat this to death, right now we are witnessing instability in the debt market as a whole, globally. People, look, if you've been following this blog for any length of time, you realize that there is a monster engulfing the earth right now, and that is the debt market hyper bubble, which continues to be fueled by central banks who are determined to fulfill their end game, to be the lender and buyer of last resort, period, the freaking end. I think you are well aware of that as well. It's not going to stop. As a matter of fact, that plays right into, let's talk about these warnings before I touch on the market. So the Bank of International Settlements is warning of something, and I want to hear from you. Are you shocked? Are you ready? Sit down. The Bank of International Settlements is warning of more price shocks to come as inflation continues to rise. Oh, I'm so surprised. Now, just to back that up, the International Mafia Fund, the IMF, is warning that the risk with regard to inflation is not to the downside. It is to the upside. Duh. Look, once in a while, you get the truth here. But if you were to listen to, let's say, the freak show president that we have, or Jay Powell, the other thing from the Federal Reserve, the chairperson himself, how they're so determined to fight inflation and things are going to get better. It's peaking. You remember that just last week? They tried to sell you that lie. Well, it's another lie. And once in a while, like I said, you get the truth. So the BIS here warning of price shocks to come moving forward, and the IMF warning of the same thing. Risk is to the upside. We have people, look, you know what I'm going to tell you. Anybody that's trying to tell you that inflation is peaking, inflation is going to somehow miraculously get better, because it was all transitory and that it was peaking like a few months ago, it was peaking before that, they're lying to you. They are lying right to your freaking face. I don't know what they're trying to do. Why? I know why. You propagate a lie long enough and make it big enough, people start to buy it. They start to believe it. They're like, I don't know, they're like zombified or something here. Now, this is just laughable, and I want to bring this up. So Christine Lagarde, the ECB freak over there, she's blaming climate change for surging inflation in the Eurozone. Make that one up, okay? Do you see what I'm talking about? I'm still waiting for the uproar. It's not going to happen. You and I, we are surrounded by entities. They're not even human beings. People, they think they're people, but they're not. They wander through space and time, not knowing who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. They act like drones. And I'm talking about most of your neighbors, okay? They move through time and space with no purpose at all. And they get bombarded by the mainstream media, distractions, distortions, look over here, don't look there, blah, blah, blah. It keeps them in a state of zombification. They're totally zombified here. They've been dumbed down to the point of literally they don't know if they're human. They don't know what they are anymore. Some people, they connect with this or they connect with that or they relate to that or they relate to this. They see themselves as cats and dogs and monkeys and dog shit and everything else. And that's okay in this environment. Oh yeah, we can't even define what a man or a woman is anymore. You can't do that. Imagine my shock. That's how bad things have gone. Can't define a man, can't define a woman. I think it's pretty easy, but, whatever. Maybe you have a different perspective on that. Anyway, so on the back of this sell-off here in the debt market, bond yields continuing to rise, U.S. 10-year yield 3.11. Look, the MMRI gain today, keep your eyes on that. Look, clearly, the bond market is unstable. Is it going to melt down? Let me say this, too. We're now marching into September here. Okay, seasonality. September's generally aren't so good here for the market. But look, we do have these midterms coming up. We got a central bank determined to buy it all, in my view. Are they going to allow the meltdown to occur, the meltdown in the debt market? Because that's the linchpin here. Forget this freaking dog shit stock market for 5 seconds here. Okay. The stock market is a derivative as to what is happening in the debt market. You all know that, okay? Anyone who tells you different doesn't know what they're talking about either. They don't understand how the debt bubble, and it's not done, is literally the key to this entire situation. The twisted financial system, the fakery, the rigging across the board. It's just out of control here. Anyway, so with that said, look, like I've been telling you, we don't have to guess, you and me. We're going to keep our eye on two things, two freaking lovely things. 10-year yield, MMRI, probably even better, free to you, link in the description of this video. Follow that at least once a day, and you're going to have a better idea as to what's going on. Anyway, with that said, so stocks sold off today, nothing major, okay, lower nonetheless. Gold fractional loss, silver lost about 1%. Bitcoin hovering around 20,000. Dollar relatively flat. Now crude oil put on like over 4% because of unrest in the Middle East. Oh, really? Oh, I'm not there, so I don't know what's going on, and I don't pay attention to the pictures that they flash across my screen because half of them are just fake anyway. It's just a mechanism here. You know how this works. Prop up energy by any mechanism possible, jawbone it higher, show some frightening photographs on the mainstream media of missile attacks and bombings and civil wars and whatever it might be. And oh yeah, well, that's definitely going to have an effect on crude oil, which is the lifeblood of this market. You all know about that. Financials are dependent on it, the banks. But no surprise. Look, we've seen energy prices surge pretty much everywhere around the world, even here in the United States, although we've had a little lull. But that lull ain't going to last, in my view. We're going to get a lot more. Now, listen, just with regard to that, if you understand how this will play out eventually, people are guessing as to how bad inflation could get. Well, I don't think people have any idea, because when we get this meltdown in the debt market, what's going to happen? What am I going to tell you that I tell you every freaking day? It's going to destroy the stock market, and like I said earlier today, cash doesn't grow on money wings and fly away. It's going to make its way into commodities. So inflation is going to go ballistic when this eventually happens, and it will. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So govern yourselves accordingly with that kind of advanced knowledge here. Look, the stock market is the stock market. Okay, is it going to crash? Absolutely. And one of these months, I know there's two guys right now with big fat channels, bigger than mine. One of them is way bigger than mine, calling yet again for another market crash every single month. How do they get away with calling a crash every month and it just doesn't happen? I don't know, but they do. And like I said, one of these people, who I will not mention their names, has a mega channel, much bigger than mine. But people listen. They tune in to hear, oh, the crash is this month. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's going to be next month. Oh, no, maybe the next month after that. It's going to happen. But it's all predicated on the debt market. It's not about the stock market, okay? But these people who call crashes every month, The two right now that are doing it, they're not telling you to watch the debt market. They're just telling you to look at the stock market because they don't know what they're talking about. All they want you to do is click on their video. Click, oh, it's going to happen this month. Oh, I was wrong, sorry. You can't make this stuff up. It's impossible to do. Anyway, so that's the story. So I want to hear from you. In light of current events here, the Federal Reserve, J. Powell, oh yes, we're going to be raising rates aggressively. We're talking about the federal funds rate. It's not going to do anything because it hasn't done anything yet. What's the definition of insanity, or the one people think it is? Do the same thing over and over again, expect a different outcome? Well, the Fed's been raising the federal funds rate for several months, like at least the last 4 meetings. How's inflation looking? How about it's gone up? Oh, really? So I guess it ain't working like you and I knew it wouldn't. You and I knew from day one it wouldn't do anything. But again, they're going to keep doing it and they're going to expect a different outcome. But anyway, look. So we're getting lies and propagandized here. This is some other thing going on. But what do you think about the Bank of International Settlement saying, warning of more price shocks to come, and the IMF backing that up, saying that risk for inflation is to the upside? Duh! Maybe you should give me a duh back. Duh, 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 duh. Can't stand this shit. Can't. I'm okay. Love all of you. Please comment. I'll see you in the morning. I'm out of here.